Right, we're starting this clip off with us gaining an upgrade. A visor upgrade, not really something that's especially flashy, but an upgrade all the same. It's funny that I remember the different beams in this game, but the only visor upgrade I remember is the X-ray visor. Okay, for some reason that door decided to just stop working for us. Well, the thermal visor certainly helps keep things looking clear, and it also looks like the enemies figured out how to actually turn on their stealth technology to try to kill us. I suppose that's one good reason for us to start using the thermal visor. Well, these stealth bastards aren't working especially hard to kill us at the moment. In fact, this guy in particular doesn't feel like he knows what he's doing. He's just running around and jumping like a headless chicken. Did he just assume that nobody would ever be able to see him, so now that he knows that we know where he is, he's in an outright panic or something? Right, and of course the Metroids wait until we're close to them to start breaking free instead of in the middle of the action when the power was actually cut. Because, like with a lot of the other hostiles, they exist for the sake of making things more difficult for the player. Don't get me wrong, I completely understand why they're attacking as they are. I just would have liked seeing some more moments of the pirates getting attacked by some of their own experimental creatures, and some slightly better justification for the Metroids just bursting out as Samus walks by. It's not like I'm asking for anything along the lines of the Covenant against the Flood and combat evolved in Halo. I'm not sure this game's engine could handle anything on that kind of scale. Still feels a bit annoying that the damn things have to wait for us to cross some invisible line so each one individually breaks free for the sake of stalling us out for a little bit longer. Right, so when a door doesn't have power, we're supposed to look for a power node to shoot the wave beam at. Part of me is curious why we didn't see any of these security drones on our way to the research base, but then I suppose the pirates themselves are more dangerous than the robots and turrets they deploy. This is possibly just a sign that they're running out of people to throw around to all the places they feel need to be deployed at right now. Of course, it's just as likely that I'm not even supposed to be thinking about how the pirates must be operating at a tactical level on this planet. It's not like I thought about all that much about their tactics in the other games we've gone through, or the tactics of Ravenbeak and his crew in Dread. It's just funny that once we got to the 3D part of the series, I gave things a hell of a lot more scrutiny than even the most recently released titles in the franchise. Maybe it's just a mental block of mine or something. I think I'd rather deal with these guys when I want, instead of just letting them burst out on their own when they feel it's more convenient for them. Again, the Metroids are just so much less scary in Metroid Prime than they were in the 2D titles. Another reason why I hope that Prime 4 is gonna be past the point of fusion in that part of the timeline. But then, it's probably way too early to be thinking about Metroid Prime 4 when we've still got quite a bit of material to get through for the original Metroid Prime. We've got this game and 2 others to do in this series before we have to actually worry about the still unreleased game in the franchise. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be working on various other games between working on the various Metroid Prime entries. As I occasionally keep mentioning in my various LPs, I have quite a long to-do list, and it just keeps growing. Sorry, pal, doesn't really matter how athletic you are compared to us. We can just deal out a lot of damage in a hurry, and we can take quite a beating in return. Besides, it's not like there was anywhere you could escape to in here that we wouldn't be able to reach anyway. I'm pretty sure the standard pirates do a better job of making me feel worried than the stealth ones. But then one of the sad facts is that one of the first stealth pirates we ran into that didn't know how to go invisible because we didn't have the thermal visor just yet was more dangerous to us than these guys who actually know how to use the most important part of their gear. Right, it doesn't matter if I'm using the thermal visor or not, the turrets around here are still pretty much invisible to us right now. I somehow doubt it's staying at that stable temperature since the glass has been shattered and the lights turned off. But then it's not like there's anyone actively monitoring these stations all the damn time. Like everything else, I'm sure it was written before Samus had stormed this specific facility. Well, seems we won't have to find a way to power the elevator. I suppose that counts as a mercy. Right, apparently I shouldn't have thought to start fast-forwarding at this point. We've got fresh hostiles here for the sake of making our escape just a little more annoying. Wonder why I prefer shooting the power beam instead of the wave beam when that one is more suited for dealing with mobile targets. Is it simply the noise that each beam makes when you pull the trigger, or is there some other factor that's making me make this decision against these flying pirates? When these guys go for a suicide dive, the explosion certainly has a large radius. Thank you for the gold bit of health. Huh. I could have sworn in the chaos of the previous encounter that these much larger containers were destroyed. It's not a major thing, especially since I definitely know enemies and crates respawn if you leave the room, then come back. It's just something that caught my eye and felt worth mentioning at the time. Again, numerous things that I just don't typically think about in the 2D games just feel like they're harder to ignore now that we're 3D in this series. Right, before anything else, I'd say this is a good time to save. And I certainly appreciate the fact that the next bit of raw footage is short enough that I have no issues at all. Sheesh. At the very least, I'm not gonna have to cut it apart to try to fit it into this clip. May as well deal with these pirates before starting to fast forward on our way out. While I'm sure there might be more enemies that we didn't encounter on our way in trying to stop us from leaving, I somehow doubt any of it is going to be a major encounter. We're just backtracking with slightly different targets blocking our way at this point. Well, I don't think there's anything else we can do in here for now. Didn't even know the doors were locked while we dealt with those two little bots. All I know is that I like shooting the electric gun at robots and turrets, even if they might not be as mobile as the pirates we've seen so far. And of course, I just had to break that Metroid out because I didn't want to leave it behind. Apparently, I feel that Samus needs to get started on that Metroid extermination order early. That with the sheer number of monsters we've killed over the course of the series, and the ones we've yet to kill in the 3D games, that's actually starting to look like a respectable number of dead Metroids. It's still quite a small number for the overall species, considering they're supposed to be a galactic-level threat. But at least combining all the Metroids in all the games, you might get over 100 overall. Who knows? You might even be able to count off that many without having to count both the Metroid 2 and its 3DS remake as two separate entries. So the only things left to kill in here is just one Metroid. I'm certainly being pretty thorough in my slaughter here. Definitely one of many reasons why I never bother trying to be a speedrunner of any kind. I just have far too much fun taking down anything we happen to come across. Wait, you mean to tell me the pirates can't go through the regular doors in their own bloody base? I know why that's the case in gameplay terms, but come on. That just feels like it highlights some of the immersion-breaking limits around here. I should probably focus more on this rather odd encounter since we've taken so much damage in it. I'm going to guess we're done fighting in here. Huh. Why did I never check that room last time we were in here? Not that we're likely to need the map in here at this point, but still. Right. And we're probably gonna have to go to the quarantine cave at some point in this game, because there's not a chance in hell that there's a threat that's been outright mentioned numerous times in their computers, and it's not gonna be something we're gonna have to deal with. I mean, dear God, Chekhov's gun and all that. So an ore that is part of some interesting new energy source is especially capable of taking damage? I'm sorry, but I'm used to the idea of fuel sources being rather volatile, not sturdy as a goddamn diamond, unless you hit one specific point on it. I'm sure we'll find a way around that bioscan requirement somehow, because again, as the player character, it's practically in our contract to deal with absolutely every problem. At least it's more forgettable in a game like Metroid, where you are alone and isolated while dealing with all this crap. Huh. Apparently I was wrong, and it is possible to make that jump. I certainly would have appreciated getting to this save point earlier in the LP, that's for sure. I believe we already have.